Welcome back to our Telecommuting for Success series. I'm here today with Lindsey Plocek, who is the Director of Marketing over at Observe.AI, and she also founded and manages her own executive coaching and leadership organization, as well as blog that has many great tips. So I invited Lindsey on here partially for a selfish reason, or in large part for a selfish reason, because I am a leader and I am a leader who is leading in a state of telecommuting for the first time. And this is an area of Lindsey's expertise. And it is tough. It is different. And, we're living in a world of the corona pandemic, right? Coronavirus pandemic. So there's so many different variables that we're all facing right now. And I have to imagine I'm not the only leader who has transitioned this way unexpectedly. And so, Lindsey, I'm just going to turn it over to you. Give us some tips. How do we navigate this really new way of running a business, of leading our teams?
For you as a first time telecommuting leader, what were some of the challenges that you've faced over the last couple of weeks that are different for you?
I think the most dominant challenge for me is I'm a very kind of empathic, intuitive human, and the one-on-one connection, being able to move around in the offices, to connect with my team, to give them affirmations or hold space when things are rough, especially because we are, psychologists, psychotherapists, holding figuring out how to be as present with them now as I was able to be historically with them in the offices. And then the other piece is looking at what's happening to our global economy, looking, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months into the future, and finding the healthy balance of how transparent am I? And I'm a very transparent leader to begin with, but how
Mhm.
do I manage the very real realities of what's happening in our world? How do I show up in a space of strength, but also empower them with enough data so that they feel held but not nervous? So,
Yeah.
connection, and how do I manage the very real realities and give them data without creating fear?
First, thank you for sharing that. Those are two things that I myself have struggled with, and I think everyone has on their mind. I'll address the connection one first, but I think the main thing is being authentic with some of the things you're dealing with. So we talked about this, but yesterday I accidentally missed a meeting with one of my colleagues because I didn't have my alarm set and he was hanging out on the line. I felt terrible. But I shared that story with my team and I said, this is something that's been a challenge for me. I'm going to set my alarm and I want to do better. But I also wanted them to feel as if they could make those mistakes and that's okay. We're still learning here.
What I love about that is you owned what happened, you took responsibility for it, and then you also modeled being proactive and putting an intervention in place. Here's what I did, and here's how I'm going to help it not happen again. I feel like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really important as a leader to show we want vulnerability, and let's be proactive about creating intentional shifts and bringing that into a space of connection as well, bringing it to the team.
Yeah, yeah. And to another thing that you brought up that I think is so important right now, which is how transparent do you be with your team around what's going on? And I think most experts agree that more transparency is better. You need to give your team enough context on what's going on with the business, let them know that this is impacting the business if it is, and in a few ways. Like, no one needs to hide that. It does more harm than good, but also not over communicating your own feelings and stressors. Like, you can be a rock for your team. You can end every meeting on an optimistic note, even if it feels like a terrible day, and it is, and it's a terrible time. But your team does count on you for that. So communicating what they need to know more often, maybe than you want to, like getting everyone on the line to do that all hands, sending those at least once a week emails, letting everyone know, hey, we know you're wondering about the business and your role in this. But also like ending on an optimistic note, as I said, is very key right now.
So being transparent, being actively engaged, so really intentionally connecting and sharing the information. But the other piece I'm hearing, which I fully agree with, is holding our own space and recognizing that the team doesn't need to hold our emotional depth right now, that we can, bring other people on board and work with executive coaches, or, Dr. Carter is one of my associates and he does a phenomenal work in the executive coaching space as well. And invite those people into our supportive base as leaders so that we have the the depth to be present with our team and to hold their emotions as necessary.
Yeah, yeah. And I think also acknowledging what's happening, like even with our clients, for example, we used to send over swag as thank you
Yeah.
gifts. And we stopped that. And we said, hey, it feels a little cheesy right now to send you some swag. So as a thank you for your time, we're going to donate to a charity of your choice.
Mm.
And we've learned so much about our clients, and they've been so appreciative of that. With my team, I'll say, hey, just remember, the teammates we have in New York, they're having a rougher time right now. You can tell when you get on video chat that it's different from here in San Francisco. So how do we each connect with them one on one more, and just check in with them? So having that heightened awareness, and acknowledging that this is happening, but it doesn't also always have to be the topic of conversation. I mean, for a lot of people we work with, this actually isn't even influencing their job or their business as much as you would think. It's just always on our mind. So having that balance too, I think, is important.
Yeah. Yeah. And thank you for sharing that little last piece there about, the conversations don't have to be about globally what's going on, uh, and nor do they have to be about work focus. It's simply, connecting, checking in. How's your dog? Whatever it might be, and linking back into finding ways through telecommuting to enhance connection and even unique ways to build a deeper level of engagement. So, and what's one last tip that you would give somebody who's telecommuting as a leader for the first time? What would be kind of a final takeaway? What would give me one?
I importance of being lighthearted and having humor on your team. So yesterday we tried something for the first time during our company happy hour. We played this game called PowerPoint Karaoke. You can download it online. You can find it for free or really cheap. And it's improv, where you have 10 times slides and someone has to improvise a presentation on a topic that they didn't see coming. And we had judges and we did this whole experience, and everyone was laughing so hard. And so many people said, I haven't laughed that hard in a while.
Yeah.
So I would say, find those moments to step out of what's going on and just enjoy each other's company and have a laugh and have some fun and lightheartedness. I think that's really important right
PowerPoint karaoke. There we go. That's an awesome takeaway, Lindsey. Thank you so much for your time. I know we'll be doing a couple more interviews here, and uh, Lindsey, your leadership, your expertise. You can find even more about her work on her blog, which will be linked below. And Lindsey, again, thank you so much.
now. Thank you so much.